Good afternoon, and welcome to our Pacific 360 Open House event here at University of Pacific. My name is Lisa Tromovich, and I'm looking forward to spending the next hour sharing with you a little bit about the university. I'm calling in from my theater's rehearsal studio. My experience with Pacific began 16 years ago, first as a professor in theater arts, and now with the Media X major in art, media performance, and design. We're amped. I imagine you are just as eager as I am to get started, but before we do, I'd like to do a quick poll. Just think of it as an icebreaker, a way for us to just quickly take the pulse of the audience. Here is your first question. Why is the University of the Pacific one of your top picks? The college has colleges and departments that speak to your passions. The small class sizes are the best fit for you. Or you're all about the vibe at Pacific, an East Coast campus set in California. I know I fell in love with my college campus just by stepping out of the car. Results are in. The Pacific has colleges and departments that speak to your passions, almost 50%. Small class sizes coming up second, and some are all about the vibe. Great, a good variety there. Excellent. So I'd like first to thank all of you for participating here on a Saturday. I really appreciate it. I'll launch a couple of more polls later on in the session as we're addressing certain aspects of the curriculum. Now, speaking of the session, let's just give you an overview of what you can expect from us today. You may have noticed that all of the communications for this session were titled Pacific 360 Connect. So the goal for today is to offer you a 360-degree view of how Pacific students, faculty, and staff make connections that last well beyond your time here on campus. So conversations with students, faculty, and alumni will help demonstrate that long-lasting connection. And even though we are miles apart, we'll be bringing you into our main campus and show you around some of the spaces where you're likely going to spend a lot of time. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. So this Pacific 360 experience is a two-way street, and we do want to hear from you. So please utilize the Q&A to submit any questions you may have at any time during the program. If you like a question that's being asked, use the thumbs up to send that question up to the top of the list. That's all I have for now, but I'll be checking in with you periodically throughout the session today. So to kick things off, we are going to explore one of our 6 undergraduate schools, the Eberhardt School of Business, and highlight some of our students. Students across all of our University of Pacific majors are welcome to take classes in our award-winning business school. We were recently voted one of the top undergraduate business schools in Poets and Quants. It's one of those top publications that covers business schools and MBA programs. So to get us started, let's see what it was like for Miles, a student athlete from our business school.
Yeah, the day starts at 5:30, and then probably the last thing I end at is probably 7:30 in the afternoon when practice ends. Go home, have dinner, try to get like a few more hours of studying in before I gotta go to bed early. It's hard sometimes waking up at 4:45 in the morning when you have to study, but I've never missed a morning practice for a test. And I've always gone to test day and gone to morning practice at the same time. So if there's a test on Friday, you better bet I'm at 5:30 practice, and then I roll out and I go to the test at 8. It's just how it works. You have to manage your expectations. I don't have a 4.0, but I have a pretty high respectable GPA. I made the dean's list in the business school, Beta Gamma Sigma Honor Society. It's all about time management, how bad you want to be successful. I'd like to take all the connections I've made through swimming, the business school, the student investment fund, and really grow that into somewhere in banking. Being a financial representative would be something I really would want to do. The ultimate goal would be a financial representative for athletes. I think business school has really accelerated my growth as a person. It's really pushed me to places I've never thought I'd go. It challenged me in ways, and then just being the student athlete part made me be something that I didn't think I could be. You know, it made me be someone who needs to be really organized, needs to be on top of my stuff. I can't just take a week off. Being a student athlete and being a double major has just made me challenge myself.
Back. Here is a quick update on Miles. He graduated in 2018, went on to get his MBA abroad, and is currently working outside London. So let's go ahead and check in with Dean Tim Carroll as he talks with Randy Holguin about her experiences at the Eberhardt School of Business at Pacific. Welcome, Dean Carroll.
Hello. Not sure if you can see me. The camera's coming up here in a second. So what I wanted to do is start off by introducing myself and Randy. I'm Tim Carroll, Dean of the nationally ranked Eberhardt School of Business. And I'm joined by Randy. Why don't you let us know who you are?
Hi, everyone. My name is Randy. I'm a fourth year business student. So I graduate this year. My concentration is in entrepreneurship, and I'm really happy and excited to be here.
All right, thanks. So Randy, we get to share a bit about your experience and let people know what you've been up to while you've been at Pacific as they're thinking about making their college choices. When you were back at that stage and you were thinking about where you wanted to go, how did you end up picking Pacific?
Well, I'm actually in the community involvement program. I'm a local Stockton resident as well as a first generation low income college student. So I qualified for the program. I also chose Pacific because I really like the small class sizes, especially in the business school. As you can see in my background behind me, this is one of our larger rooms, but it's still pretty small. And I really liked that when I was touring the campus.
Yeah, so as Randy's pointing out, the class sizes, the building, actually, the largest classes we have in the business school are 35 students. And so we are literally capped at anything higher than that. Most of the classes are probably closer to half that size that we have in the business school. So what has your experience been like in the classroom, kind of on the academic side? And then in a second, I'll ask you what you've been up to outside the classroom.
Yeah, so academically, I really enjoy at the Eberhardt School of Business that we do a lot of hands-on experiential learning. So I actually just entered a contest for entrepreneurship as well as engineering students. I mean, it's open to every kind of student, but it's called the PIES competition, where it's I forget the name of it, but product innovation, something like that, where we created a product, and mine was a self-watering plant pot that expands with your plant. And my partner and I actually took second in that competition. So it was really awesome. We worked really hard all semester on this project in our classes. And it turned out really well. So that was an awesome time or experience that I had there. And when I was a sophomore, so I'm an upperclassman being able to participate, but when I was a sophomore, I participated in the Shark Tank competition. And I came up with a card holder pop socket idea that also took second place. So that was a pretty cool experience as well.
Very cool. So what Randy is highlighting is we have what we call the Pacific Entrepreneurship Network, which is the set of things that we do across campus. It's the business school is very much involved with it, but it's not just a business school thing. We have students from across campus, really, literally all the different areas, undergrads, grad students, even alumni who participate. And then the Pacific Innovation and Entrepreneurship Summit is what we call PIES. That's kind of the pitch competition. We just had that about 2 weeks ago, and I think we've got some videos of that available that we'll be showing a bit later on. So one of the reasons why I asked Randy to be with us is that she's also been super active outside the classroom, and she's been involved with a lot of different things. Why don't you tell us about that?
Sorry, I think my internet connection was bad. It kind of cut you up a little bit. Would you mind repeating the question?
Sure. Sorry about that. It might have been on my side. I don't know. I was saying that you've been also very active outside the classroom and involved with a lot of different things across campus. Why don't you tell us a bit about that side?
Oh, yeah. So I'm actually ASCOP president. ASCOP is our Associated Students of the University of Pacific. So it's like our student government, student leadership. And I've been involved with that my whole time at Pacific. I got started in the arts and entertainment section, which is the group who puts on the concerts and the events. So I did that for 2 years. And then I ran for president. Twice. I won my second time, so that's what I'm doing currently, and I love it. It connects me with students, it connects me with campus, and I've made a lot of friends through it. So I've really enjoyed that part of my Pacific experience.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think it is one of the things that distinguishes Pacific is we're big enough to have a lot of variety, a lot of different majors, a lot of different things people can do, small enough that you can get involved with a lot of those things. And it's not so difficult to be involved with student government or the pitch competition or other things. So Randy, last question for you. You were in folks' situation a few years ago. Any advice you have for people who are in your shoes? Well, sorry, they're now looking at what they ought to do or what they might do for their college selection.
Yeah. I would say just do what is best for you. I know when I came onto Pacific's campus, I felt at home, I felt connected. And so that's why I chose Pacific. Other than like a big school, I knew Pacific had the hometown, like very connected feel. And I knew I would find my Pacific family, and I did. So I would just say, trust your gut and do whatever decision is right for you. When you pick that decision, it can never go wrong.
Fantastic. Great stuff. Well, thank you, Randy, for spending time with us. I'm glad everybody who has been able to join us and hear from you, get a chance to meet you and I. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Lisa, back to you.
Thank you, Dean Carroll. Thank you so much for that interview. Let's go ahead and, excuse me, let's go ahead and round out our view of the business school by checking in with another student in the program, Aruj.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Pacific. I'm Aruj, and I'm pursuing data analytics as an undergraduate degree at the University of the Pacific. My favorite experience in Pacific was getting personalized quality education. I have done 2 projects in my time at Pacific that really make me feel like I'm ready to take on the business world. One of them was a project that I did in my international marketing class with an actual client. Along with my team, we helped launch a for-profit business that promotes education on women in Kenya. I want all prospective students to know, for me, being accepted into the Pacific family was the most exciting turn of events in my life. People here at Pacific believe in promoting equity and a safe learning environment, even in the middle of a pandemic. My most exciting achievement here was starting the Rotaract Club, which is an internationally affiliated community service club on campus. Before ending, I'd like to thank the Dean of Business School, Tim Carroll, and all my lovely professors for having a special eye on us students. I hope to see you at Pacific soon. Go Tigers!
Thanks for sharing all of that, Aruj. Throughout this session, we're going to talk about making connections. So next, I'd like to invite a few more students to join me here to talk about how our connections to a network of vetted University of Pacific employers afford them an opportunity for some amazing internship experiences. Opportunities that ranged from a stint at NASA to a healthcare provider and an NBA feeder team. So I think we are all gathered. So I'll do some quick introductions. We've got Connor Lemon, Bryce Duncan, and Kyla Carragher. Thank you for joining me, everybody. So I'm going to just ask you first to just introduce yourself a little bit, maybe your year in school, your major, and your hometown. Connor, let's start with you.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. So I'm Connor. I am a senior mechanical engineer, and I am from Santa Cruz, California.
Bryce, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Bryce. I'm from Oakland, California. I am a sports management major, and I think I covered everything.
Okay, great. And Kyla, why don't you add in here?
Hi everyone, I'm Kyla. I'm an engineering management major. I'm a senior this year, so I'll be graduating this May, and I'm from Los Angeles, California.
In just weeks. Okay, so today we want to focus on your experiential opportunities, specifically the three of you had some amazing internships. So Connor, let's go ahead and start with you. And can you tell us about your recent internship and also how it came to pass that you were invited to do the internship in the first place?
Yeah, so I got the fantastic experience to go work as an intern at NASA Armstrong, which is a flight lab research center out in the Mojave Desert that NASA runs. So I got plugged in there because I'm a member of the Powell Scholars Program on campus. One of the really fun things the Powell Scholars do is they, from time to time, will bring on leaders in different fields to come and speak about their work. So when I was a sophomore, the program brought along a guy by the name of Al Bowers, who is the chief scientist at NASA Armstrong. And Al came and gave this fantastic talk about his work on the Pranal D aircraft, which is a really, really cool revolutionary aircraft. I'd love to go into the details, but I don't think we really have the time for that. But Al has talked about how this technology could be applied to turbines, propellers, and fans. And I found that super fascinating. So I talked to him a little bit more, did some more research. And then in my junior year, when I was about to go leave to go on the co-op that all engineers are required to go do, I saw that NASA Armstrong had openings and specifically on perennial propellers. So when I applied, I got to the interview stage and I was able to share about how I already had a pretty good amount of knowledge on the subject. I had done my own research and I had met the guy who came up with the technology that I would be utilizing. And that definitely put me ahead as far as compared to other candidates. So one, it helped me succeed in my internship. But it just kind of all goes back to that connection I made with Al, which I would never have had the chance to do without Pacific.
Well, and the Powell program connecting you with something that is also with your major. That's awesome. Bryce, you recently did an internship with the Stockton Kings. So can you tell us a little bit about that and maybe how your professors prepared you for it?
So yeah, I was an intern for the Stockton Kings. For people who don't know, it's the minor league team for the Sacramento Kings. So I worked for them, and it was a great experience. I was a game operations and merchandise intern. So I had the duty of basically when you go to a game and during like halftime or timeouts, and you have people that go on the court and throw T-shirts, or they bring somebody from the crowd and shoot a half-court shot. I was in charge of getting people on the court in a certain amount of time and getting them off so that the players would come back. So that was a great experience because you got to work closely with a lot of people and build those connections with people, because just like Pacific, how we have small class sizes, that's how the Stockton Kings were. It was real small, so it was a very family oriented. So you really got to know everybody, as opposed to if you worked for an NBA team. It's a lot bigger, so you really only have connections with a couple people. It's not a whole family vibe. So that was great. And a way that one of my professors prepared me for that was that a lot of things that we had talked about in class, I saw in my internship. Like if I would have never really paid attention in class, I suppose when I got my internship, like I would have been far behind. And he was a big help in telling us that we needed to volunteer, that we needed to go out and get experience, because if I would have never did that, I wouldn't even have had a resume in sports in order to get that internship. So, building those connections with my professors, especially, and my classmates, helped me tremendously in that internship.
That's great. And finding the connection directly from class to a work environment, that's exactly what we're hoping for. That's awesome. So Kyla, you had an internship through Pacific we call the co-op. So, and it's a very important program. So can you provide some highlights from that experience and maybe what it means to prepare you for your future career? One of my advisees is a double major in Media X and engineering management. So I'm particularly interested in your story.
So I did my co-op at VSP Global. It's a vision insurance company. They are vision service providers for a bunch of companies across the world, essentially. And I basically worked on a team for modernizing some of the systems that they had there in place. So I was working on their API team. As an engineering management major there, and being an intern there, I was able to shadow different employees there, like different managers, particularly Amanda, she's a product manager of my team. She's amazing. She always brought the best snacks to work. And some of the biggest highlights were whenever we would like finish a big part of our project, we would all celebrate, we would all get snacks together, we would play air horns. So that's one of the biggest highlights. And what co-op really helped me see was how to work as a team and give me that insight of how a team works and how to lead a team in the real world, which was an incredible experience that I'll take with me to my future career. And actually today I am working for the same company. So I'm working part-time for the place where I did my co-op. So hopefully after I graduate, I will switch to a full-time employee.
That is fantastic. It doesn't always work out that your internship is actually the very next step, but congratulations. So
Thank you.
let's see. It's very exciting. Okay, so let's shift a little bit. What opportunities outside the classroom did you take advantage of to help you prepare for these internships, possibly working with career services, other offices? Bryce, let's let you begin this time.
So one thing that the school provides are mock interviews. And one of my professors required that we all, or highly suggested that we do the mock interview. So in the mock interview, I got a lot of experience. They told me to, they said I've interviewed very well, but, they gave you tips that certain things that you need to get better at for when you actually go and interview. And, those type of things are just invaluable because, without those experiences, I'll go into a regular interview, make those mistakes, and I might not get a job because of that. So the fact that I can go practice and get some valuable feedback, it was amazing. And like sort of rolling back to the last question, some other experiences I had was a lot of volunteering. I know a lot of people are usually hesitant to volunteer, want an internship where it's longer, but volunteering is great because especially if you have never worked in a certain field, if you're able to volunteer and just put that on your resume and they see that, okay, like this person has been there before, it helps a lot. It goes a long way. So volunteering and mock interviews, I highly suggest, for those people who want to get into a certain field.
That's great. And just getting those little tips that are particular to you and your presentation. It's just not something out of a book. They're really responding to you. That really makes all the difference. Kyla, did you take advantage of any of these opportunities?
Yes, I actually went to the Career Resource Center in preparing for co-op and those interviews and applications for co-op. I know that time is really stressful, so I tried to look for any advice or any help I possibly could. And the great thing is Pacific does offer all of those resources. So when you come to Pacific, I highly recommend look at all the different things Pacific has to offer and take advantage of those because Pacific is really there to guide you. One of the other parts that helped me through my process of co-op was Professor Irene Kami. She leads the co-op program. Having mock interviews and resume workshops with her truly, truly helped me prepare for those interviews and technical interviews for co-op. And then also I'm a member of Theta Tau, which is a professional engineering fraternity on campus. And what really helped me there was to know older brothers and alum who have gone through co-op and are now working. So having that experience and them telling me what to look out for and what to prepare for really, really helped.
Great. I'm glad to hear the alum and the upperclassmen are helping the undergraduates. And you, Connor.
Yeah, so mine is pretty similar to Kyla's. So I had I went through going through co-op. Sorry. Any engineer who goes on co-op generally has to take a class called Professional Practice with Professor Irene Kami. And that's a 1-unit course where even if you have never done any work at all, you will be fully prepared to go apply to a job by the time you're done with that course. We cover things like writing, a cover letter, creating your resume, how to conduct yourself in an interview, the importance of making sure you send thank you emails. All sorts of those really basic things are really drilled into you and you know how to go do them and you're confident in your ability to do them once you're done. The other great resource that I was able to use is that I'm a member of a social fraternity on campus, Theta Chi. So when I was applying for internships in co-op, I spoke to one of our alumni who works at Abbott, and he and I sat down together and spent maybe an hour just going through my resume and really helping me tweak and really hyper specify how to get the best results out of the resume with the skills that I had, and how to transform what I may have just seen as some simple and basic classroom project into something that shows off my skills as an engineer, and how to use that to help me get hired.
I'm glad you mentioned confidence, because when you take advantage of these things and you're ready, then the confidence comes through in the interview as well. That's great. Okay, so for this last question, what are you looking forward to doing after graduation? And did this internship help prepare you for your goals in the real world? Kyla, why don't you start this time?
So as I mentioned before, I am currently working part-time at the place where I did my co-op. Kami definitely saw that, hey, this company is your perfect match. You should definitely look into them. I did, and now I'm like potentially getting a full-time job with them after graduation, and hopefully I will level up to a P1, which is the next level in software engineering. And during that time, I'm hoping to shadow my actual boss right now to get my PMP certification and to become a project manager professional in the company. So that will take about 36 months of shadowing during that time. So yeah, that's my plan.
Fantastic. It sounds like a really great plan. Connor, will you add in?
Yeah, so after I graduate in the just a couple weeks here, I'm doing essentially two things. One, I'm currently in the process of enlisting as an officer in the U.S. Air Force. So while I go through that process, I'm also applying to a variety of jobs in aerospace engineering. Right now, I'm trying really hard to get into the fluid mechanics lab at NASA Ames. So that's where I've been kind of putting all of my effort. I'm waiting basically just until senior project is done, because I used what I learned on my internship for that senior project, and I'm hoping that that's a great example that I can use to get into more aerospace fields.
That's great. That's great. And Bryce, how about you? Plans for the future?
So my future plans are that I'm currently trying to get into basketball operations because that's my favorite sport. So trying to get into basketball operations anyway. If that doesn't work out, because my internship was game operations, I've done a lot of things. So I can go to another sport, do event operations. That's the one good thing that I say that I did, was because even though I was interested in basketball operations, I've done internships where I worked with merchandise, game operations, events, a whole bunch of things. So I have like a very unique tool set where I'm just not in one lane. I can do a whole bunch of things. So ideally, I want to do basketball operations, but if that doesn't work, I'm open to anything in sports.
That's excellent. That's excellent. And being able to identify that you have transferable skills, that you have a lot of opportunities, that's fantastic. Well, I know we could talk forever. I certainly have more questions, but unfortunately, we are at time. So I appreciate you all coming out on a Saturday and sharing your stories with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So our main campus does have a lot to offer, as does the city of Stockton and the surrounding area. So let's take a look at what awaits you when you come to Pacific on our off-campus road trip.
I think Stockton has a really bright future because of its people, because of the people that care. Something I learned about Stockton is that there are a lot of hidden gems around the city, and you really have to get out there and just put yourself out there and just explore a little with your friends.
Especially going to UOP, every single year you kind of get more and more of a sense of the city that you live in. It's kind of excessively friendly with the people that have actually stopped to talk to and have interactions with. It's really friendly, and there are a lot of people just kind of hidden amongst the ranks that really want to make the city a better place, which I think is actually pretty unique.
I think it's a very personal decision where you decide to go to college and spend those 4 years of your life. At Pacific, you know you'll get a great education, but you'll also have a really good time. You'll be a part of a really strong and thriving community.
I like being in Stockton because it's a short drive from a ton of California treasures like San Francisco, Yosemite, and Lake Tahoe.
There really are a lot of fun things to do in this area. It's really a great place to live too. So now I think is a good opportunity to get your opinion on something. So imagine you're here and you're in your first year at Pacific and it's been a few weeks, you're settled in and you have an opportunity to go on a day trip. You've made some new friends and you want to go out and explore something. So based on what you just saw in the off-campus road trip video, where do you think you would go? Bike across some biking trails, get some fresh air, explore the Miracle Mile shopping district, discover your inner foodie in the local restaurants. That's where I'll be. Just lay low on campus and enjoy our beautiful campus. My favorite restaurant is Coco Rose. I don't think I had better Japanese food when I was in Japan. My chair likes tie me up, THAI, but don't ask for spicy if you don't really mean it. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm glad I gave the warning about food. The inner foodie is coming out in this group, followed closely by exploring the Miracle Mile Shopping Center and shopping district and biking, and a few people laying low on campus. Great. We have a really varied group. That's awesome. And probably most of you would have liked to pick 2 or 3 of those things, I'm sure. Okay, so now I'd like to get back to something that was raised by another interview earlier today, an introduction to the PIES competition. It stands for Pacific Innovation and Entrepreneurial Summit. And it's an exciting annual competition that this year was converted into an online experience with over 300 virtual guests and students from various degrees and programs, all in attendance together. It's an interdisciplinary event that highlights the connection between new products and the ability to market new ideas to the public. So let's take a look.
PIES is actually being run by the students enrolled into EMGT 174, which is an engineering management course.
This is a great opportunity for participants to share their innovative ideas with industry professionals and present virtually to judges, as well as their peers, for the chance at winning some amazing prize money.
There are 3 different events at PIES. There is the Pacific Pitch, the Trade Show, and the Fantastic Forum. The Pacific Pitch gives the students a 5-minute Shark Tank style interview.
My project is a hand sanitizer dispenser that universally clips onto a vehicle's air vent.
My product is a 2-piece suitcase that allows accessible extra space needed on trips.
The Tiger Trade Show is a marketplace of posters for students to show their product, service, or business they developed.
We are utilizing analytics to decipher how the emotion of happiness affects organizations, countries, and the human species.
The thing I'm looking forward to most about PIES is meeting new people and building relationships.
Finally, the Fantastic Forum is a panel of investors and entrepreneurs talking about different entrepreneurial opportunities in today's world.
And as someone who struggles with using proper engineering terms, hearing their mastery of engineering vocabulary really boosted my confidence.
I've already met so many amazing and dedicated people that have helped me tirelessly throughout the development process, as well as giving valuable feedback for both me and my partner to improve.
Personally, I'm most excited to just see what kinds of projects people have come up with, working entirely remotely from home. So we hope to see you there. Have a great day.
In first place, the winner of the Pacific Pitch competition is Monster in the Forest. Congratulations, April.
Hi, thank you so much. Honestly,
Very-
thank you everybody. I'm April Chai, and this is my project, The Monster in the Forest, an original story that I will be bringing to life as a feature film. So, as Tana Graves searches the forest for her missing husband, she begins to believe she's being hunted by a crazed monster. But whether women or monsters, the truth isn't always as it seems. Does this psychological meets monster horror mystery sound interesting yet? We also aim to capture how women can be made into a monster when fighting back, because of the idea that women should remain the perfect submissive lady, and the internal struggle of deciding whether to act as she's told she should, or to reclaim her power, even if it makes her a monster in their eyes. Socially relevant films have a great deal of opportunity today. Feminist and socially aware horror, such as 2020's The Invisible Man and 2017's Get Out, are especially popular because audiences crave films led by powerful women who are no longer just the victims in their story, and films that bring to light societal issues by reflecting the horrors of reality through metaphor and fiction. Currently, we are in the development stage of production, developing our idea, looking into rights, and crafting our plan. As a producer of the film, I will soon begin raising funds from our various sources to move into pre-production, production, and then the post-production process. I'm April Chai, and this was The Monster in the Forest.
Thank you again to all the students who have participated in PIES this year. It really was a fantastic event, and the students were so impressive. Well, let's go ahead and continue on our theme of making connections and check in with one of our professors, Sasha Joseph Matthews, and one of her former students.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Sasha Joseph Matthews, and I am the Assistant Dean for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in the Business School. I'm also an Associate Professor of Marketing in the Business School. So I am super excited to be joined today by one of our alums, Miss Anna Gonzalez, who is an alum from 2012. Hi, Anna. How are you doing?
Hi, Sasha. Can I call you that now? Professor Joseph Matthews?
You can. I know back in the day we were SJM, but you can call me Sasha now. You're all graduated and grown up, so it's all good. So Anna, maybe you could tell everyone, what you're doing now, your role, when what it was like, when you came to Pacific. Maybe you can just tell us a little bit about all those things.
Sure. I'd be glad to tell you what I've been doing in the last 10 years. So as I graduated 2012. I've worked for a number of various companies and most recently moved out to Washington, D.C. Started working closely in international development as a project manager, and most recently joined Partners of the Americas as an associate director.
I know, I saw that on LinkedIn. I was so excited for you. That's such great news. Congratulations. So, I mean, wow, it's been since 2012. Isn't that amazing? Like, I can't even imagine that it has been that long since Anna Banana left Pacific and is now doing all this stuff. I know I'm the only person you're allowed to call you Anna Banana, but, talk to me about why you chose Pacific. I know you chose, and also your brother came right after. We always used to say, hey, Anna's brother. But tell us what fed into that,
Sure. So I think I've told you this story before that I thought Pacific was by the ocean, and
I thought it was an island, so it's all good.
Yeah, but overall, and as I was making my decision, I realized that I really wanted to do international business. I really wanted to focus on the international component, and Pacific had that. Within the business school, there was a number of different international business classes. There was business law with Lecter Heath. There was international marketing with SJM, and a few others. And so having that availability plus having the close-knit community, it was a deal breaker. Sorry, it was not a deal breaker.
No, go ahead.
What's the right word?
That was what sealed the deal. How about that? Seal the deal. There you go. We even
Thanks.
finishing each other's sentences. So, what I always tell my students is, and I reference you all the time. When you grow up, you're going to be like Anna, but tell me about, we really try to stress experiential learning in a business school, right? When you were there, we had this amazing internship program where we sent you across the globe. We don't have that specific program anymore, but that was almost a precursor for what we have now, where we require every single area or concentration to have experiential learning classes. So tell me if that worked. Tell me, where have you used some of the things that you've learned at Pacific since you're doing all these fabulous stuff out there in DC? How has it been important in your life today?
Yeah, so I left Pacific probably having done 4 or 5 marketing plans for all the internships and for all the
Yeah.
classes.
Mhm.
Right now, part of my role for Partners of the Americas is to come up with a marketing plan for their network growth. So not only do they do international development, but they also have this amazing group of volunteers and paid members. And I was essentially brought on to help boost that up and help grow that network. And so I'm doing a SWOT analysis and marketing plan, all for that, to launch in October. And that's all directly ties back to the experience that I've had at Pacific.
Yeah, we're doing that SWOT stuff right now. We're doing the marketing stuff, the plans right now. We're working. One new thing that we're doing is that once a year in my international class, I team up with the graphic design department, and we work with international organizations who really need physical marketing and graphic design help. So I'm so glad that you were able to take those things that you learned in the class, and even today, almost 10 years later, you're still applying it in your day-to-day jobs. That's just amazing stuff. I'm so impressed by that. So you're out there in DC doing fabulous things. Have you met or encountered any of our alums? Are you encountering people while you're shopping in Whole Foods? Like, talk to me.
Not Whole Foods per se, but I mean, this field is such a small field, and people move from company to company. It's like people moving from Microsoft to Google and then to Facebook and so forth. It cycles. And some of the alums from Pacific I've encountered at some of the organizations that we either work closely with or that we compete against. And so it's been a small field, but it's been nice to run into those and realize that I know some of those names.
And that's one of the things that I think is so unique and wonderful about Pacific, that it's so rare to find a school of our size that has a conservatory of music and has, this huge humanities college, but also has dentistry and law. And I know in my role as a professor, I do so many collaborations, and you and I worked on so many different collaborations, whether it's with the School of International Studies and we're doing a research paper that involves them, or we're working on PAMA, or the which, for people who don't know, is the Pacific chapter of the American Marketing Association, or we have a Council of Social Entrepreneurs where we're bringing students from across the university. I mean, I think it's that type of cross collaboration that's fabulous. So one last question, Anna. If you could give your 2012, no, before that, your 2008, right, when you just got to Pacific, you could give that Anna some advice, would you tell them to come again?
I would, and I would probably tell them to knock on more doors. So yeah, I mean, to say it again to my 2008 self, knocking on those doors, and whether they're professors' doors or other centers and institutions, made an impact and a footprint in my life that have led me to where I am today. And I mean, completely grateful for that.
Well, I'm so glad you knocked on my door, because we have had a bond through the years. I love you deeply. You are like a model student for me. And I always, I mean, think of how many different professors I've introduced you to, or relationships that, have come out of our collaborations. And I think that, for me, that's what teaching is all about, right? Creating these relationships with students, being able to guide folks through their careers and their choices academically, and experientially. And I'm so glad you chose us. And I'm so glad that still in 2012, we are going strong and you're doing amazing things. Thank you so much for joining us and chatting with us today, Anna.
Thank you, Sasha, for always being a mentor, and thank you, Pacific, for this opportunity.
You're so, so welcome. Be well. Take care.
Thanks again for taking time out of your schedules to join us, Anna and Professor Joseph Matthews, and for bringing up the issue of the collaborations that just can be lifelong. So based on that interview, I'm sure you all get the sense that the relationship with faculty extends beyond the classroom. And as a member of the faculty, I can attest that we are fully committed to the futures of our students. Your connection to Pacific doesn't end once you receive your diploma. And these connections run deep, and access to faculty within your department and across the rest of Pacific is one of the benefits that becomes available to you on day one. So we've had the opportunity to check in with students in the business school. So now let's take a moment to hear from Matthias, who is one of our philosophy majors.
I am Matthias. I study political science and philosophy. I gotta say, the political science department is on point. We have some tremendous professors there. I should say why I chose this school, and that is because of the Socratic discussion model. It's a mechanism where you basically just talk in classes with other students about the certain topic that is at hand. You refute ideas or agree with ideas, and you build on those ideas, or you say if they should be extinguished. However, everybody has an equal footing in those classrooms, an equal opportunity to make a case for why they believe in what they believe in. I chose a school because it is beautiful. I'd never thought I would be able to attend such a school. Felt like they wanted me in there. Of course I wanted to go, but they're also just as much willing to say, hey, you are now one of us, you know? And I find that to be extremely reassuring. If you want to be there, they will help you be there. And if you ever need assistance while you're there, you're gonna find that support. This is
"Can I start
not
your video
just
because
a
host
university,
has
I
it
would call it a
disabled?" Well, don't tell me to turn it on.
community. It is a true community that behaves like family.
I can't turn my camera on.
Sorry, looks like we've got crew and cast on at the same time. Thank you, Matthias, for sharing all of that with us. There's so much to consider as you narrow your choice down to your top pick of college or university. Matthias talked about what he loved about the structure of his department and the opportunity for open discussion. Whether you start your college career with a clear idea of where you see yourself after graduation, or if you want to explore possibilities, Pacific offers you access to academic advisors and career counselors who are always available to students across the various departments and majors. I'd like to invite Tom Vecchione, Deb Crane, and Abby Ingleton to address how they connect students with resources that they need while they're here at Pacific. Tom, over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom Vecchione. I'm the Associate Vice President for Career Development here at University of the Pacific, and I'm speaking to you from the heart of campus, right across from the Student Center in the McCaffrey Building. Right behind me, you'll see the sign that says the Academic Advising and Career Services Center. This is a center, it's a wraparound service that you'll want to get to know right from the time you step onto campus. We've got professional academic advisors who are right here to serve you from day one in terms of picking out your coursework, working in conjunction with your faculty for various majors, or if you decide along the way that you want to change your major at some point, the academic advisors and the Academic Advising and Career Services Center are going to be here to help you. You're going to be hearing a little bit more about them in just a moment. Also in the Academic and Career Services Center, obviously, are the Career Services Advisors and our Employee Relations team. That's a team that can work with you right from day one to begin thinking about what you might want to be doing after your time at the University of the Pacific. We can help with internships, mock interviews, all types of career fairs, one-on-one career advising, a whole host of services. So now,
everything I'm going to say.
Now I'm going to go ahead and send us back to Deb Crane, who could talk a little bit more about the career services part.
Welcome everyone inside the Academic Advising and Career Services Center. My name is Deb Crane and I am the Director for Campus Career Partnerships. I have the distinct privilege of heading up our fantastic career advising team. So we meet with students in individual career advising appointments and can help with anything from resume and cover letters to job search skills. We can do mock interviews with the students, and we also help with graduate school search and personal statements. As Tom mentioned, we have an employer engagement team, and that team develops relationships with employers so that they come to University of the Pacific to hire our students for full-time, part-time, and internship opportunities, as well as co-op opportunities. Our annual events include up to 4 major career fairs during any academic year. Another event that we host each year in February is our mock interview program. It's a week-long program. We invite employers to campus who then interview our students for about 30 minutes and provide them with feedback on what they did well and areas that they might want to work on. Another really special event that students really enjoy are our career treks, and that's where we take students to actual high-profile company sites. And we've been to companies such as Electronic Arts, LinkedIn, and Roku. Now behind me, you can see our student alumni wall, and that is where we can feature our students who have successfully been hired into their first position or have attained enrollment in a graduate program. And on the other side are some of our employer partners. And so those are some of our partners that we work with. Around the corner here is our conference room. And down the hall from our conference room, we have 3 interview rooms, 2 of which are fully equipped for either video or phone interviews. And students can reserve those rooms when they have the opportunity to do an interview. They can come right here and reserve the room and do it. I am now going to hand it over to Abby Ingleton.
Hi, everyone. My name is Abby Ingleton. I'm the director for academic advising at Pacific. And at Pacific, we want to make sure that students make a very early and meaningful connection through both academics and their career pursuits. By partnering academic advising with career services, students are able to ensure that they are meeting all their academic pursuits and goals, as well as exploring and investigating future career opportunities. And they're all integrated simultaneously so that there's a very seamless pass off and working relationship with the career advisors as well as the academic advisors. I want to give you a quick 360 of our space so that you can get a sense of actually how integrated our space is here at the Career Services and Academic Advising Center. So that's the lobby area and our individual offices, suites, and all of these offices are occupied by both academic advisors as well as career advisors. And we work hand in hand in making sure that students are actively engaged, not only in their academic pursuits, but also their career investigation and exploration. There's Deb over there. Hi, Deb. So it was great having this opportunity to spend with you this afternoon, and I'm going to turn this back over to Tom. I look forward to working with you in a couple of months. Welcome to Pacific.
Thanks, Abby. Thanks, Deb, as well, for your contributions to this right here. Again, we're at the Academic Advising and Career Services Center. We welcome you to come on and see us right from day one. We're excited to be able to help you, and this is definitely an office that you want to be connecting with. So with that, I'm going to kick it right back to Lisa. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Tom, Deb, and Abby. So remember that academic advisors are attached to each of our colleges and majors at Pacific. You'll all have the opportunity to work with faculty and staff who have a full understanding of your selected major and the internships and career opportunities you might want to explore. We have a commitment to ensuring that each student is ready for life beyond graduation, and our support to achieve those goals begins with you on your first day. There are so many ways students can gain practical experience in their major, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with the concept of student researchers and the idea of publishing or sharing your findings. Usually research is associated with graduate level programs, and most often with those in the sciences. But let's check in with our current undergraduate students, Angelique from our Media X program, and Carmen, who is a psychology student. And to start the segment, a word from Dr. Lydia Fox, our Director of Undergraduate Research.
Hello, I'm Dr. Lydia Fox, Pacific's Director of Undergraduate Research. Pacific has a long history of involving undergraduates in faculty-mentored research across a wide range of disciplines, from biology to economics and mechanical engineering to music history. I think that engagement in this research is one of the best ways for students to learn, not just deeply within their discipline, but also to develop skills such as critical thinking, time management, effective communication, skills that are necessary whatever your future endeavor. My job is to help connect students to research opportunities with faculty and to provide grant support for these projects. These grants support research during the school year and for some students during research during the summer. In addition, there are travel grants for students who present their work at off-campus conferences, such as the National Conference on Undergraduate Research. And at the end of every school year, we celebrate the excellent work done by Pacific undergraduates at the Pacific Undergraduate Research and Creativity Conference. And now we have two students, Carmen and Angelique, who will talk about their summer undergraduate research fellowship projects that they did last summer.
Hello everyone, my name is Carmen Huang and I graduated in December of 2020 with my Bachelor of Science in Psychology as well as my minor in Chinese Studies. I conducted 2 independent research projects. One of them was for the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship, also known as SURF, which was funded by the Office of Undergraduate Research. My second independent research project was for my senior honors project. So for my SURF project, I wanted to look at the different emotions of characters of different races in animated film media. So for example, I wanted to see if Asian characters, Black characters, white characters, and Hispanic Latino characters in animated film media show different emotions. For my senior honors project, I wanted to look at physiological states and student learning beliefs for students of different socioeconomic status groups. So for both projects, my faculty mentors were extremely supportive and they were always there for me whenever I had questions or any concerns about my project. They were there to make sure that I was following the timeline so that I was actually going to complete these projects on time. I did ultimately share these findings. I recently presented these findings at 2 conferences. One of them was for the Society of Research in Child Development, and the second one was at the National Conference of Undergraduate Research. I'm also going to be presenting my findings in August at the American Psychological Association APA conference. So as for undergraduate research, I would definitely recommend all students be involved in undergraduate research. I think aside from just being involved in research and learning more, it's also a really good opportunity for you to grow on your personal skills, such as better managing your time, having better organizational skills, and just being a better leader and being more assertive. Best of luck, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your undergraduate career. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Angelique Doty and I am a senior here at Pacific, double majoring in Media X and English. This summer I was awarded the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship to work with my mentor, Professor Marie Lee, as a filmmaker and co-screenwriter on the documentary film The Singing Spring as part of the Com Minority Cultural Heritage Project. This documentary film is an introduction to the culture of the secluded Com minority people living in Dimon Village in China. The footage has been recorded by Professor Lee, Pacific students, and her filming crew during several previous trips. Working with Professor Lee, my job was to go through the clips and organize them to correlate with the narrative script introducing the basics of the Com culture. I sorted several hundred clips and found the most relevant ones to use. My combined project experience in the film production and animation classes at UOP helped me to develop the initial skills this project entails. My filmmaking and animation skills progressed along with the project and my further understanding on how to compose facts from research into a narrative documentary film. My part in co-writing the script and co-composing the footage was an exciting opportunity to delve into more in-depth the mysterious world the Com people live in. To my surprise, I found that despite living in different cultural styles, both our cultures have some qualities in common. I can now relate better to my own roots and not only learn more from the elders in my own family and community, but also encourage others to do the same, to cherish their wisdom and heritage.
Love for your perspectives to be added to the Pacific community by your joining us next fall, this coming fall. So we're nearing the end of our time here today. So I'd like you to keep a couple of things in mind. One is there is one more opportunity to visit with us this coming Wednesday, April 28th. And during that Pacific 360 experience, we're going to address how Pacific students are making an impact both on and off campus. Now, our admissions teams would love to continue the conversation with you. And if you are ready to confirm your enrollment, we'd love for you to do so by May 1st. Just visit our admissions site. And now that you've seen some of what Pacific has to offer, it's time for one last poll. Based on what you learned today, are you ready to commit to Pacific? I'm all in, sign me up. Pacific is in my top 3, but I need a bit more time. I'm still undecided, but I'll know by May 1st. We're, of course, hoping that you choose I'm all in, sign me up. It's been great speaking with you today. And it looks like the results are in. Fantastic. 72% of you are going to join us in the fall. Wonderful. And 17% are going to get a little more information, think it through. And 11% of you are going to get back to us probably closer to May 1st. That is fantastic. Thank you so much. So I hope we answered most of your questions during this hour, but if you have any additional questions about your acceptance, financial information, or anything else, just please reach out to our Office of Admissions and to your admission counselor. And remember that May 1st is the commitment deadline. So thank you so much for joining me today on a beautiful Saturday. And I do look forward to seeing many of you for real on campus in the fall. Take care.